All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast where we talk about everything going on in sports. And we had a heck of a weekend with a ton of great NCAA basketball, some good NCAA basketball. We had some obviously very definitive second halves in both games. But let's just jump right into it. Deacon Hill, your thoughts on either of the championship games and anything that stood out to you?
Well, I just got to give the women props on their games. All the whole tournament, but the championship game, it lived up to what the hype. Caitlin Clark, she came out, she did what she could do. She was hitting her shots and everything, and then South Carolina clapped down in the second half on the defensive end. And the big girl, I can't think of her name, Clarissa or whatever her name is, the big girl 6'7" for South Carolina. She did her job on the boards, and they brought it on home. That was an exciting game. It lived up to all the hype. On the men's side, it was boring. I just hate to say it, but it was boring. I watched the first half, and at halftime it was 30-36. And Purdue, I heard how well they were supposed to be good 3-point shooters, but as I'm watching the game, all I see is a point guard with the ball in his hand all the time, penetrating and trying to get either he's going to get his shot or get it to the big man, and they didn't have enough touches. You got to move the ball around and open your other guys up. And that's what UConn did. Everybody got a lot of touches on UConn, and everybody was contributing. And I think that's what the winning factor was. But I didn't really like the men's game.
Brother James, thoughts on either of the championship games?
Yeah. Well, I was shocked. If you go back a game with, Iowa and LSU, I really thought that LSU was going to pull it off. I thought they would get them in Iowa in trouble. But she did a thing in that game, and then she also did a thing in the championship. She lived up to the hype, and a lot of times, you have a player like that getting hyped up as a college student, a college player, and they choke in the big lights, and she stood her ground. I was very proud of her. Carolina was just like they just like had some vice grips and just clamped it down in the second half, and so that was just crazy how they did that. But it was the women's side was very entertaining. I loved watching. I watched most of the women's games. The men just wasn't really exciting this year. I mean, they hate to say it, but it wasn't. Like Deacon Hill said, Purdue has some key players. They have good talent. But if they don't get the touches, you can't. That's one thing. If we look at Golden State's big attribute to them is they've always passed the ball very well. They go for that extra pass, and Purdue didn't do that. And if they had done it, I think we had a different outcome. And that's why, I originally picked Purdue, because they actually, Purdue's a better team, all in all. But UConn came out and they played team ball. And so that's why they won. So but it was boring. I stopped watching it after half as well.
Purdue's thing, and that is the thing. Purdue's thing is they have this enormous center, and they shoot threes really well. They shot 4 threes the whole game. You would think they would have gone at halftime and been like, okay, we need to start shooting threes. Again, you're not getting threes without the passing. And it was like, I don't know if they overthought what they were. It was weird. They go, oh, they expect us to shoot threes, so we're not going to shoot any threes. And then we're going to get our butts kicked in the second half. Like, it didn't make any, I don't know if it was a game plan. I don't know if it was UConn's defense that was keeping them from doing what they wanted to do and they couldn't out scheme it. But UConn, obviously UConn has a great defense and UConn can score. UConn had something like a plus 140 for the tournament, which is insane, which is like the greatest plus in like the history of the tournament. I know they kind of added some teams, but a plus 140 is bananas to do that throughout a tournament and win by double digits. And that second half wasn't even a game in the second half.
Yeah, I've never seen a defense that's designed to stop you from passing the ball to your teammate. I mean, I think that they just never
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing. They wasn't passing the ball. I mean, you could pass the ball. You might not score the ball, but you can definitely pass it.
Yeah. And then staying in the defensive lane. South Carolina held Iowa to 0 points in the last 4 minutes. That's bonkers. 4 minutes with a chick that can shoot threes from half court.
That's the vice scripts. I'm telling you.
Bro, 4 minutes is, I mean, not one basket in 4 minutes. That's, oh my God. It's like,
I think at the end too, Caitlin kind of lost. She kind of ran out of gas a little bit. She was trying to put up some threes and she was shooting short, and I think she kind of ran out of gas at the end.
and she came out super hot. So I could see like whatever the adrenaline or whatever that had her dialed in the first half. They start playing tough defense. You have to move around a lot. I could see she's probably gassed at the end of that game. But 0 points in 4 minutes it's almost so. So when they show they show like the breakdown of, like the 4-star recruiting, Iowa has like nothing. Like their whole team is like 2-star recruits, and then Carolina is like it's all 5-star, just killers. And that last 4 minutes showed. It showed, oh, okay, that's what 5-star recruits look like, and this is what 3-star recruits look like, because it was just
and the size difference. They just South Carolina, those girls were tall and controlled the boards and could move their feet on defense. That was a problem.
Yeah, and so
they were well coached.
Absolutely,
well coached.
And a completely different starting lineup than last year. And last year they were this close to going to the final. So I mean, Dawn Staley's a killer coach, which leads me to a next potential. Let's just put it out there, just see what happens. Kentucky's open because Calipari's a dummy and left Kentucky a year before to go to Arkansas, which is, I don't know why in the world you go from Kentucky to Arkansas, but hey, Calipari does. I'm sure he's going to get paid extremely well to be mediocre there, just like he was at Kentucky. So there's a coaching open. Is there any chance that when the AD is sitting down and they're talking with their basketball guys and they're like, is there any chance that Dawn Staley's name has come up as the Kentucky replacement? Brother James, I'll start with you. Any shot that's even been a subject?
Well, I'm pretty sure what the caliber of coach is it has to come up. But and then in the same breath, Carolina's not gonna let her go anywhere. They're gonna make sure they pay enough to make her stay. Yeah. And because that's the issue. I mean, look what she's done. I mean, come on. All the girls coming back next year, unless they decide to go pro. You know what I mean? So they may be undefeated again next year. So I mean, I think she's found a home there. If she ever leaves there, I think she'll leave there to go to the WNBA
and make no money.
No, well, the WNBA is starting to grow. They linking up with the NBA a little bit, so I mean their advertising is getting better. Yeah. But sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about the development of kids.
Yeah. I mean, and you like to think at a certain level that you're going to have almost like that kind of integrity, where it's not like it's all about dollars. It's about something, like she's built something at South Carolina, and maybe she wants to stay there. Deacon Hill, I could see the slight smirk on your face. Oh, I can't wait. Dawn Staley, next coach at Kentucky. What do you think?
No. I've been hearing Dan Hurley's name being tossed around from UConn. I don't know about that, but this is my take on women coaching men. And I actually coached my daughter when she was in junior high school. We had a team down, and I was a head coach, and I had an assistant woman was my assistant coach. She could bring more out of those girls than I could. Because they just had a different, like when I'm thinking I'm pushing them hard, she can push them harder than I could. So I think there's just a different relationship that they have. And I think that's the same with men. I don't think and first of all, they can't go into the intimate parts of the locker room. You know how you can get in and
I didn't
all
even think about that.
yeah, all that. So that all that stuff plays a part in coaching. You got to be sometimes you got to go in there and you got to get you got to have this conversation or something. So we got to have this disconnect on that level, and then it's just the physics and the drive. I'm telling you this. I'm thinking I'm pushing these girls hard, and this woman would just get in there and get in them, and they would get out there and they would play. And I would just look at her and like, you know how to you can get more out of those girls than I can. So I just think it's just a little bit different that, from my experience. And that's why I don't really think it'll work for her.
Yeah. Honestly, you could have just said she can't go in the locker room and talk to them. I would have been like, oh yeah, duh.
Well, they can go out and, once they get dressed, they can go over here. But sometimes you got to get, like I say, in the, and just practicing. I'm telling you, we be practicing, and I'm thinking I'm pushing those girls, and I'm trying to work them hard, and that lady would get in. Oh, she would get on them, and they get going just from her, knowing how to coach and knowing how to pull stuff out of those girls that I couldn't pull out of them.
All right, that's a good argument, but I think X's and O's. People are
X's and O's is yeah.
There's a lot more than just X's and O's.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that.
I mean, because what's his name? Hurley. His whole dynamic is, I mean, you take his sideline. I'm not going to say antics, his sideline behavior, and his X's and O's, and those are two very different things. Like obviously his X's and O's are dialed in, but he seems like a maniac on the side, and that's part of it too. I mean, whatever it is he's doing, which he's doing extremely well, and I don't know why he would leave. I mean, you talk about building a culture. They're murdering, right? They have 2 in a row. Go for 3. Like I can't see him going to Kentucky at all. That would make no sense. So speaking of Kentucky, though, is John Calipari like all you hear about? I mean, granted, he has won, but it's not like he's won and then been pretty close the rest of the time. It's like he won and then it's kind of forever. I think he's extremely overrated. I mean, you get knocked out in the first round with Kentucky, with the amount that Kentucky's probably paying the NIL players and stuff to play there. He's obviously a good recruiter because he gets top guys to go there. Obviously, there's money involved because you don't just get when top guys could go kind of anywhere they want, depending on incentives. And now at least the incentives are like out in the open and everybody can see it. But I mean, I think Calipari's way, way overrated. Is he the most overrated NCAA coach? Deacon Hill, I'm going to stick with you. And if he's not, does somebody come to mind that is?
No, I'm not going to say he's overrated because I look at his record, at his overall coaching record. 667 and 194, a 775 winning percentage. That is a lot of wins. So how could you be overrated with winning those many games, 600 games? You can't be overrated, and he's won a national championship. I mean, the way the college game is played now, you get and like they said, he is the cause of the one and done because he created that monster. But now it's a whole different beast, the talent is all over and everything like that. But when I look at his overall record as a coach, hey, if I got 600 wins, no, and he's going to be he's a Hall of Famer. So no, how could he be overrated?
Okay. All right. Brother James.
Well, I can't disagree with nothing Deacon Hill just said because that's a percentage, man. He's over 75% win rate. You can't ask for a coach if any coach is like that. He's straight up Hall of Fame, and so yeah, he's not overrated. He may be underpaid.
You think he's underpaid? I mean, but like, so in Arkansas it'll be good because Arkansas, like, we don't think of Arkansas as like this blue blood basketball. So I think it'll be good for Arkansas basketball, 100%. Kentucky basketball is Kentucky basketball, and you got to. I mean, it's like Duke basketball. You got to win. You got to at least go to the finals. You got to be in the Final Four. You got to be. I mean, you have to like move someplace. You don't lose to Oakland in the first round.
Yeah, this ain't your dad's basketball no more. But that's like UCLA and North Carolina. It's a whole different game now. Talent. Look, have you ever thought of Alabama going to the Final Four, a football school?
That's well, and SEC just in general has been the last 10 years has done a lot for.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's a different beast now. So you can't say Kentucky. It's Kentucky. No, well, hey, everybody's playing ball now. So
Yeah.
And
It'll be
then maybe
interesting.
he want to go there to show the world that, hey, I am good. I can go to this school and build a program.
Oh yeah, man. If he does that, the whole script gets flipped from the last whatever 4, 5, 6 years where it's just kind of been flat. And it'll be interesting what happens with the Big Ten and with the SEC with these football mergers that they're doing, because there's a lot more money going into these programs and stuff now, and they're going to be. I mean, granted, you have to find a good coach, but there's a lot. It's going to be, especially like in the Big Ten, all that new football money and TV revenue and everything. There's a lot of money coming into to get those basketball programs, top level, because it's all football money. Um, Speaking of football, when you get to, especially with the Cowboys, and the Cowboys, for every other team, it's the last year of the contract where players start making noise. Like they want some stability. What's going to happen next year? They don't want to go necessarily straight into free agency. With the Cowboys, they start complaining about the pay like 2 years in, 2.5 years in. And there's already kind of rumblings about Micah Parsons. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's going to get paid. Dak's going to get paid. So you have these three monster contracts coming up within the next year. You start hearing this week, things about how, I don't know if it's the coaching staff, but the people are like not really feeling Micah Parsons' vibe in the locker room. Now, he kind of says a lot of stuff on Twitter that's not false. It's just weird for a player to be talking about other players being good or making cracks and stuff, which is kind of refreshing. But he doesn't seem crazy. He doesn't seem like he's not doing any wild stuff. I can't, not being in the building, I can't imagine why in the world you would draft a guy like Micah Parsons and not keep him. And I can't think of a reason. Like, would the Cowboys be nuts? Brother James, I'm gonna start with you. Would the Cowboys be nuts to let Micah Parsons go?
Well, yes and no. Okay, so yes, you don't want to let that type of talent go. Okay, but on the business sense of it, you like you said, you got a couple contracts coming up. And so what can I get for him?
A lot.
So if I can get a lot for him to help me with those other contracts, then why not?
So, okay, what if the Raiders got rid of Crosby to get draft picks?
That's ignorant.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing, though. I mean, Crosby's a killer. Micah Parsons is a killer.
Yeah, that part. But what I'm talking about is we don't have nobody coming up for no big contracts right now.
That's true. But you could get a haul for Crosby.
Oh, we could get a half a team.
That's what I'm saying. And you guys need half a team, so that would be.
No, we don't. We don't need to have a team. We're not Moses.
Yeah, yeah. Deacon Hill, would the Cowboys be nuts to let him go?
I think they would be. I mean, he's basically their identity on defense. So if you let him go, what are you saying to your team? What are you saying to your defense? You're not gonna compete. You're not. I mean, he is the identity on defense. I've been hearing that they might be trying to trade up or do something to get a quarter to replace Zach. So that they're looking at moving up to get a quarterback. So they might be saving money on that end. But if anybody has to leave, I wouldn't be. I mean, he's the heartbeat of their defense. Why would they get rid of him? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, so the three monster contracts is Dak, which is going to be absurd. CeeDee Lamb, which I'm sure he's going to be looking for close to 30, and Micah, who could be close to 30. If you had to pick one of those three to not re-sign, if you're the Cowboys, who is it?
Well, to me, I think Dak has reached his peak, his ceiling. We've seen his best days, and if I'm in that war room or whatever, and I got my eye on a quarterback that we can make a move for, and there's supposed to be like at least 3 or 4 quarterbacks out there, and that's what I'm hearing. Why not? It will be Dak. I would make a move on Dak. Parsons he is that guy.
He's an A+.
Yeah, he's that guy. Dak is not that guy.
Brother James, if you had to get rid of one of those three, who would it be?
Yeah, I would get rid of Dak, and I would use him to get some picks coming because another team go want him.
For
You know what
sure.
I mean? But yeah, I would definitely get rid of Dak
Oh, I'm gonna click.
because I think he's done all he could do at Dallas.
Yeah, and I think CD Lamb is a he's an A minus A wide receiver. Micah Parsons is a plus defensive end. Dak is a BB plus quarterback, and more closer to like B minus when you get in the playoffs. Like he's great during the season when nothing matters. He's awesome then. Oh, MVP, get in the playoffs. Done. I'm gonna make sure Sister Leslie listens to this because I want to get her take on it too. I'm sure she'll say the same thing. All right, last subject. The Masters are this weekend, and I'm a casual golf watcher. I used to watch a ton of golf when I was younger, but that's because Tiger Woods was golfing all the time, and he for 10 years he was the man. I was playing his video games. I was watching him on TV. I'm buying his red shirts. I got his hat. I mean, the whole everything. Tiger was like, he was my dude. So I'm pumped on the Masters. Um, Brother James, are you going to be watching the Masters this weekend? And is it only because of Tiger?
Well, I probably won't be watching the Masters because I got a couple things to do, but I will be checking in on it. And yes, it would be because Tigers playing.
All right. Deacon Hill.
Well, I will be watching it, and it's not because of Tiger. I've been playing golf for about the last 5 years, and I'm really into it. I watch golf all the time. I just watched the last tournament just a couple of days ago. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I can sit there and watch golf. One of my buddies says it's like watching paint dry, but I love it because I watch these guys, and you get tips from it. You know how they hit, what they do, and they get So that's why I watch it. But I'll watch and I love watching Tiger when he's in. But just Tiger, his body has been breaking down a lot. So he might get in and he might be there for a day or two, and then he might not see him no more. But it's always interesting to see him play, because he's Tiger. But I'll watch it anyway, whether he was there or not. And I like Scheffler is the #1 golfer in the world. I love watching him hit. And Rahm. There's a lot of guys out there that can play some golf. So I just love watching it.
Brother James, do you golf?
Yeah,
Okay. I've
a little
golfed.
bit.
I golf like a couple times a year. Like that's it. So I watch it and I go,
Yeah.
wow, I can't get any tips from it because I don't play enough to get it. But
Yeah,
I
I got
but when I
a
did,
good long game. I got to work on the short game.
that's all yeah, but what is it? You putt, what is it? Hit for dough, putt for show, or hit for show, putt for dough.
Yeah,
You get the
that
short game
part.
dialed in.
Try for show, putt for dough.
There it is.
No.
There it is. Needed the golfer to tell me. All right. All right. So I don't know really what to expect from this next sports week. I mean, the Warriors are about to beat the Lakers, so that we'll have that. Um,
Here we go with
real
that
quick,
mess.
real quick, since I'm outnumbered by Lakers fans, are the Lakers going to make the playoffs, or are they going to have to do the play-in?
Go ahead, Brother James.
Well, before the injuries, we were going to make the playoffs. I, because we only have 3 games left. So at this point, making the playoffs, unless a miracle happens, it is not happening. So we're going to probably be in the play-in and have to put y'all out of the play-in. Sorry, but that's how it's going to go down.
Okay.
And I agree 100%. It doesn't matter because, like you said, before the injuries, they were playing some good ball, and I think they're going to get into play-in, win, and I don't think anybody really wants to see them other than Denver. Nobody really wants to see them in the playoffs. So we'll see.
So, and I heard, I think I texted this to you guys. So I heard a really good argument about why the Lakers would want Denver in that first round. And I thought it was a really good argument because that's when the Lakers will be the most fresh. And that's when they have the most gaps in between games. So it's like the best chance that Lakers have health-wise to take out the #1 team. Because once you get further in the play, like if they play them in the finals, they've gone through multiple rounds of intense basketball. The breaks in between games are a lot shorter. There could be more travel, and with the first round, you have whatever, like 2-day breaks or 3-day breaks or whatever in between some of the games. You're more fresh. So I thought it was a good argument. I don't know what I mean. It's not my team, so I don't think you ever really want to play Denver. But if you had to play Denver, that's when you would want to play them because you guys are old. I don't know. Maybe. Real quick. Oh, brother James, go.
We are not old.
LeBron's. What?
I mean, name somebody who can outplay him right now.
That's not a bad point, but that's why he's a freak. Yeah, but he's still
Okay, so
technically
so
still old.
so we can't. He's like fine wine, baby.
Is he?
Get better with age.
Yeah, I don't know about better, but he's just as good, which is also equally insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just the same as you were saying that they want to take face Denver. Denver has a chance of getting injured down the road too. So I don't, I wouldn't be looking forward to playing them right away. I'll take my chances. You know,
And
down
hope
the road.
That part.
and hope for an injury.
We're not hope for it, but I mean, we could, like you said, they're finding themselves. The Lakers are finding themselves. They might continue to find themselves as the series goes on. They might even get better, So
And somebody may sneak Denver before we can get to them.
exactly.
That would be a shock. Do you guys think? And I know we didn't talk about this before we started recording. Do you think that the Dallas defense is for real and will continue and show up in the playoffs? That's the one team where I go, if their defense is playing good, they obviously have two killers on offense. That could be an interesting team.
Yeah.
No, I think they're gonna choke out.
Okay, good. I mean, that's what I'm going for, but that's what I'm hoping for.
But they're gonna choke out after they beat y'all.
Why gotta beat us? I thought you guys were gonna beat us. I'd be happy if we have to play Dallas. That's good. That means we made it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So next week we'll have a much clearer picture. Obviously, a very clear picture of NBA stuff. So I'm sure we will be definitely NBA heavy. Hopefully, Brother Bill will be feeling better and he'll be joining us next week. But until next Tuesday, we will see you guys later.
Go Lakers.
Go
Yeah.
Warriors.